What is going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody, you, your family, everybody is doing well today. I'm back. You're back. We're back with another live stream. Diving into our picks for the NBA and NCAA. Definitely going to recap yesterday and then dive into our 8 picks. A couple of them have already pretty much finalized for NCAA. And one of my NBA picks or should I say lock picks are already started. So yeah, I'm just glad though that my Thunder pulled out the win. I'm upset that I didn't take this on the spread today. It was 7.5, and we pulled it out in the fourth quarter against Denver at home. So yeah, I seen that Michael Porter Jr. went off, so I'm like, dang, like if I would have looked at him, but it is what it is. We'll take the win and we'll keep it moving. But let's dive into today's picks. We're gonna be looking to hopefully go 30-40 minutes. Try to not keep you or anybody else long today on this Sunday. We're getting ready to walk into a new week. As I always say, I'm gonna not even remove myself from the camera. I'm just gonna nudge myself over here in the corner here. But as I always say, go and follow me over on Twitter or X, whichever you call it. I still call it Twitter, at Vortex46 for all of my picks for each and every day for NBA and NCAA. As I'm going to be looking to hopefully dive into some baseball. And I'm just really looking forward to NCAA college football to come back, and already definitely ready for the NBA playoffs to come soon, and definitely for NCAA college basketball next season. But we're in March Madness right now, so we're locked in. But these are just real quick, just again, happy birthday to Dragon Ball Z, Lord Slug movie. If you're an anime fan, I'm an anime fan. This came out back in 1991 today. Oh, and if you're a fan of anime, like I said, Solo Leveling season 2, yeah, it's great, such a great anime. But let's see here. So, as I always say too, I'm not sponsored by these folks, but go and create yourself a Pickett account. It's a free app. It follows all of your picks, gives you daily, weekly, monthly picks if my laptop will be kind. Thank you. This is what it looks like here. Gives you the next, like I said, yesterday, today, tomorrow, all of that, monthly, all of that stuff. Gives you all of that stuff here on the app. It's free. They have a subscription. I'm not grabbing it. I'm gonna keep saying that every single day pretty much. But this is what it looks like per my picks from yesterday. As you saw there, the record, I went 6-6. I intentionally decided to go with 12 picks instead of 8. And yeah, either way, I may have had a losing record had I went with my original 8 that I originally put together. But I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do 8. I'm gonna go on ahead and do 12 today, because the day before I did 14. Originally I had 8. Like I said in yesterday's stream, I should have went 4-0 for my original 4 picks for college basketball. Yeah, and I decided to add what was it, 3 more college picks, and then of course the original picks that I had NBA was 4 picks, and I went 2-2 on those, and then I added 3 more, so I went 4-3 for college, 3-4 for NBA, and last night I went 3-3 for both. So it is what it is. What can I say? But recapping yesterday here, so I for college here, like I said, went 3-3. My Kansas State, for them to cover the spread at plus 7.5, that didn't cash. That way down there at the bottom. They were playing against Iowa State, and yeah, Iowa State won 73-57. If the game really wasn't close, from what I could tell, Kansas State was just down from the start of the first half all the way through the second half. They seemingly had, were, as far as I could tell, the minimum amount that they were down was 10. So that was like the standard amount. And I was just like, I feel like they're not going to cover the spread, and that's technically what happened. So I will accept that loss. The other loss was where are you? I think it's over here. I could be wrong. Oh, let me see. So it was a couple of it was a parlay that I did. Decided to do some research on all of these. Took Central Connecticut, Louisville, Maryland, and SMU. That's the one that I forgot to check to see if SMU covered, because they were winning the game. They were close and then winning the game. Mostly for the first half, from what I remember, and then the second half I missed it because I fell asleep last night. But as I'm looking here, they lost 76-79 on the road against Florida State. So what can you do? That was a pick that was it. Now that wasn't again, it was a 4-leg. So the original pick that caused this pick to fully not win was the Central Connecticut one. I had them at -9.5. Again, all this stuff was researched. All this stuff I felt like was pushing more towards a win. As you see, Louisville and Maryland, they handle business. They pretty much won by 13 or more points. And yeah, both of them. Louisville had a spread of 11.5, I remember, and then Maryland had 10.5, I remember. So that was just one of those picks where I was just like, yeah, like, those two for sure. I wasn't fully sure about Central Connecticut, but I still decided to go with them. And then, like I said, SMU, that was just a toss-up type of thing. I just looked at it, was looking at the research. I was, let me just go ahead and add them. But I mentioned, but I did mention that had I even posted here on the right, that I looked at my Georgia Bulldogs. I looked at them a couple of times. I looked at Penn State, and I looked at Princeton. More so Penn State and Georgia were the main focal points that I kept going back to like 3 times to really make a decision on whether or not I wanted to take their spread. I just wasn't sure. And Princeton was another one that I was like, okay, I was leaning towards it. Looked at it one more time, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. So all 3 of those teams cover. So had I taken those 3 original picks and added either Louisville or Maryland, I would have won this 4-leg here. Definitely would have been a plus 1,300 or more, and I would have came out a few dollars up top. So what can you do? That was the pick, and it failed. There's another one that did not cash for me. That was number 2, and I can't seem to find what the other one was. It was something, but I just know for sure I went 3 and 3. So that's the original. Those are the 2. Like I said, I can't see the other one, but for sure there was another one that didn't win. The other other 3 that did was where are we? Was, so again, I cannot find. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, never mind. I got it. So let's talk about it. Duke, 10.5, -10.5 for them to cover on the road at UNC. I felt good about this one. Looking at the information, there were some folks that were leaning more towards North Carolina to win and as well as cover. All of that. People would say don't sleep, on UNC and blah blah blah. I just felt really good. Per the information that was in front of me, per what Duke has been doing the last few games, I was like, this feels really good as a spread pick. And yeah, eventually Duke in the second half took a good enough lead that kept going up 10. UNC was trying to come back, but ultimately they lost 82-69, and they covered the number at the they won by more than 11 points, right? So I would gladly take that. And the other one was Alabama. Another really felt really good about pick that I decided to go against Auburn. And from what I was hearing, a lot of people were also taking Alabama as well. There were only a few that were taking Auburn from what I was hearing, but A lot of people were feeling really good about Alabama in yesterday's game. So if you have taken Alabama on the spread, which was plus 7.5, or if you had taken the over, yeah, all of that would have hit for you, or just Alabama on the money line. Either way, if you would have taken all 3-0 for the night, Alabama cashed for you straight up, and they won 93-91. So, yeah, I can't remember if it went in OT. I don't think it did, but either way, they got the win. They made the magic happen and made it do what it do. But this pick here is my definitive favorite pick of the night last night, and it was St. John's on the road at Marquette. This was the one where I was like, yo, I feel really good about this one. This was actually the first pick that hit. The game was close most from start to finish. I was excited. I was glad that this one, really cashed. Again, it was the first one that cashed for me, if I remember correctly, when it's pertaining to college. The very first one. The reason being is because this one went to OT. And some player, I got a notification on my phone. It said so-and-so player hit the game-winning shot, to defeat Marquette. And I was like, let's go. Like, that's how it was. I was just like, let's go. I got super amped, super pumped, excited. They won 86-84 on the road. Covered the spread, all of that. If you had taken everything, if you taken same thing with the Alabama pick, if you had taken St. John's for the spread, taken the over, taken for the win, straight up money line, 3-0, so you would have went 6-0 if you would have done exactly everything. Six picks, all of them, boom, locked it in, everything. If you would have even maybe parlayed, I guess, the spread and the over, I think you could do that at least on FanDuel. I don't know about anywhere else. They don't really let you parlay the spread money line and whatever over pick, but I think they at least let you do the spread and the over type of thing, or the under, whichever, and then you can do the same thing with another game. You combine. That's, you know what I mean? That's 4 separate picks on one ticket. Boom. That was money in your pocket. So that's what happened. It cashed. So glad they take those wins. Accept the losses for what they are, and then moving on to the NBA. My 2 lock picks, I went 0-2 officially after so many days, because I've been going like 2-0 and 1-1 for a good while. So over the last like 3 or so days. So originally I was down, and then I decided to sort of kind of slope up. I'm still under 500 for the month of March. I just can't remember specifically my actual record currently at this moment. I remember specifically the last time I had checked, I was 1-3-1. But that's what I remember. So I think I have like 3 wins, maybe 6 or 7 losses, and the one that didn't do anything, that was that Washington one from a few days ago. It was the spread for them to win by 1, cover the -1 first quarter against Charlotte, that didn't hit. So but yeah, my first 2 lock picks didn't hit. It was Brooklyn and Charlotte to go over the team total points. Speaking of Charlotte, yeah, they ended up winning. They ended up coming back in the fourth quarter, from what I could tell last night. Yeah, that one was an interesting game because Brooklyn was up most of the game. From what I could tell, it was just like that fourth quarter. And I've been talking about Charlotte. I've been betting on Charlotte for fourth quarter. If you've been paying attention, especially my videos and my live streams, I've been talking about how Charlotte is a really good fourth quarter team. They haven't been more recently, but they still show signs of what they were doing a month and a half ago, or whatever, however long it was, maybe a little bit less than that. But Charlotte is a team that you can, when, especially when Lonzo's playing, you can consider taking them to win the fourth quarter a lot of times. So yeah, they literally were like 8-2 or 7-2, something like that, for a number of games. There was a reason why I kept harping like, y'all need to take Charlotte in these fourth quarters, and they, the game before that they didn't cover, but last night they did. So yeah, I gotta go back and look and see what they've done over the last few weeks, see if they have a another above 500 record for the fourth quarter. I gotta go back and see. I think it went down too because of the team, and they were down, and LaMelo was out, all of that stuff. So I kind of feel like their fourth quarter, the record has dipped down much because the last several games they've not been able to score 100 points, stuff like that. Same thing with Brooklyn. So, but Brooklyn's kind of been kind of trying to push for 100-point nights or games in general. But like I said, Charlotte won. They won 105-102. But the under hit, not the over, pretty much is what I'm mentioning more so than anything. 215.5, and they scored 207. What can you do? And I took the team total under for Houston. Again, my other lock didn't hit. They scored 146, and the number 46 is my favorite number. And yeah, once I saw that they scored 70, I think it was 72 points in the first half alone, I was like, yeah, this isn't going under the 119. Main reason I kind of felt like that was gonna, more than likely happen, because I think the first quarter they scored a lot of points, and it was going back to the data, like in the midst of Houston scoring a specific amount, under, and everything. The Pelicans defense was allowing like 119 or something like that over the last several games. That's the only thing that was the issue. But I still took the pick because of the read. I still felt sort of kind of good because Houston they only, over the last roughly five games, they only went over 119 points once over the last 5 games. They were scoring like around 102 type of thing around, these last a few games, and last night was the exception. They decided to actually ball out, so it worked out if you did indeed take Houston's team total over, the over in the game, or whatever the case. So it worked out, but didn't work out for me. But the other pick that didn't hit, it was a parlay. This one I did the day before. It was basically two different games, specific team to score a specific amount of points in the first quarter to go over their projected total points. I took Miami's total points, 27.5, and Detroit's total points, 28.5. Detroit was the one that really let me down, more so than anything. Miami, I was like, oh, they scored 36. They came out balling, right? In that first quarter, open quarter, mainly because, as I've always talked about, Chicago's defense sucks. What can you do? Luckily enough, though, Chicago won the game, and they held Miami to 109 because Chicago's been allowing over 120 points scored on them for several games, more than 5. So, if you decided to take their team total over, Miami failed you because they decided to kind of slow down or do something, and or just not have an off night or something. But they only scored 109, so it is. But again, like I said, Detroit was the one that felt me the most because they had the better stat information as far as them in the first quarter, because they were 4-1 over the last 5 games of hitting the projected point, which last night was 28.5, and roughly under 6 minutes they only had 8 points. That's literally what I saw last night when I was paying attention to the first quarter, and I was just like, dag, because something was also pushing me to consider Orlando, and I didn't take it. And Orlando went out there and balled out in that first quarter, if I remember. So I'm just gonna go back and double check to make sure. I believe it was Orlando, right? Yeah, Orlando had 34 points. I was looking at them and I was like, I don't know, because their information was a little bit, sketchy when it pertained to the first quarter. I was like, I don't know. But they went out there and handled business. And the other one that was real sketchy that I decided to not go with was Toronto, because that was the other one that I was thinking about taking. And they scored 39 in the first quarter. So I'm just like, that's why I'm upset that I didn't go with either of those ones. But it was mainly Orlando, but then the other one was like Toronto. I was like, I don't think that they may not, but they did. It's just like, man, but what can you do? But the other parlay that I did take was 2 assists under per the information. Scotty Barnes, Pablo to fade their assists, and that worked out. Scotty Barnes under 6.5 assists, he finished with 4, and Bonchero to go under 5.5 assists, he finished with 2, so that cash, so that works out. And the other 2 picks I hit was, speaking of Orlando and Milwaukee. 217.5. That was the over. Felt really good about this one, but then heard about something about the game, and I was like, well, maybe it will still hit. I can't remember what it was. I'm drawing a blank on the game. It was something, but either way, it still hit. They combined for 220, so it worked out. That's what I woke up to, and I was just like, all right, cool, bet, I'll take that. And the other one, like I mentioned, with Chicago, their defense, they actually played some, I guess, relatively good defense or whatever, but it was their team total points because they've been averaging a good amount of points over the last several games, and their team total points was over 111, 110 and a half for them to go to score 111 points, and they finished with 114, just a few points shot over. So I'll gladly take that as a win. So that one is that, and now we can dive into the picks that I took. So Michigan State, I decided to go back to them. I've been talking about Michigan State over the last few spots here, where they have cashed me for 4 straight times. I've been fading, like relying on their defense. There was 3 straight games where I took the total under whomever it was. Originally it was like Michigan. Then the next game, I can't remember specifically the other 3, the other 2 games that they had played, whether home or away. But I felt really good about the other 2 where it was fading the total, and it worked out because all 3 of those games went under the total because I was trusting Michigan State's, the Spartans defense, because they've been playing really good defense. But by that 4th game, I was like, I'm just going to switch it up. I'm going to go on ahead and do something different to take them on the spread. It was -6.5 at the time, and they covered that game. Again, I can't remember specifically off the top of my head what team they played with the last, but I just really felt really good. And I even mentioned here that they were 5-0 ATS as far as covering the spread, because again, that 4th one, the last game, like I said, they covered that one. So I was 4-0 with betting for with Michigan State games. So last night was another one, spread pick. It happened, it worked out, and it worked out again today, because I mentioned this at the end of my stream yesterday, where I said, you know what, I'm going to go back to the Michigan State well. I'm going to take them again back to back with a 6.5 spread, and they were up throughout most of the game against Michigan, because this was supposed to be a supposed revenge spot for Michigan, for the Wolverines. And yeah, Michigan covered the number. They won by 10 plus points at home. I think let me double check. I think the over hit though. Let me just double check that real quickly. I could be wrong. The under may have hit. So the over was 148.5 and it went under. So had I decided to go with the under, back to the under, it would have cashed. Either way, it would have cashed for me. And but like I said, I decided to go with the spread again, back to back. So yeah. So 3 straight fades of the total, 2 straight of the spread. Will I try to do a 3rd spread pick for Michigan to go 6-0? We'll see what happens, because that's what I'm considering doing. Because again, like I said, 3 straight games where I took the under for their total points for the game, and back-to-back games where I decided to take them for the spread. We're going to see, because I'm feeling like taking them on the spread for the 3rd straight game to see if I can go 6-0. We'll see what happens. But that one did cash because they won. Like I said, they won today against Michigan, 79-62. I'm glad about that pick. Next up, I think this one just cashed, if it hasn't already. Let's double check here. The next one was Drake. It cashed. I will gladly take that. But mind you, I have lost on one of my picks though today. So actually I have 8 picks in total, 4 college and 4 NBA. I didn't add anything else. I was considering adding a couple more pick, one more pick for college, one more pick for NBA, but I don't think I am. So I took Drake for the spread at -2.5. It ended up going up to -3.5. They were 2-2-1 to the ATS over the last 5 games, while the Braves, their opponent, Bradford was 3-1-1 over the last 5 games. But Drake was at the time, they were 4-1 ATS against Bradford over the last 5 meetings, but now they're 5-1 because Bradford covered and they won the game 63-48. But the under hit, they only scored 111 points to that 118.5. But I'll gladly take that win. But the next one up that I was my first loss for the day, currently so far, and hopefully maybe it won't be the only loss. But again, this is the third game. But we'll see. We'll see because there's still 6.5 minutes left in this game. But the third game, the first loss is I took North Texas spread at -5.5 against Temple. The Owls were 2-1-2 ATS, and the North Texas was 3-1-1 over the last 5 games. So it was just like I looked at that, I was like, yeah, let me see if North Texas can handle business on the road. They didn't. They North Texas lost 66-61, and it was more so when I was looking at that because I noticed that North Texas, if I remember correctly, they weren't scoring. A couple of games they had scored like 50 something points. So it was just like it was something that I decided to take because I just was like, well, maybe this could hit. Maybe they'll handle business. You know what I mean? Here, they just came off of a win at home. Maybe they'll get this win against, at Temple's home spot. Yeah, it didn't happen. So Temple covered the +5.5, but it looks like it dipped up to 7.5. So it is what it is. And the fourth pick that again is currently going is Oregon. I decided to take them -6.5. Against Washington. They are on the road. The Huskies currently still are 1-3-1 ATS over the last 5 games, while the Ducks are 5-0. That was like the main reason because the Ducks have been handling business over these last 5 games. Whether at home or on the road, they were doing their thing. But looks like the cover may not happen. There's 5 minutes and 31 seconds left. Oregon was up 58-54. I just looked at my phone now, and now they're down by 1 point, 59-58. 5.5 minutes left in the second half. I mean, again, granted, anything can happen over the next 5 minutes, but per what I was looking at, I was like, I kind of feel like Oregon's probably not going to cover this -6.5. So we'll see specifically what happens. And the number dipped up to 7.5 too. So what can you do? Just accept whatever happens, and I'll probably just go 2-2 for college today. NBA, the pros. So, let me find the actual pick, right? So my 2 log picks, because I kind of posted backwards on my social media here. Okay, just have to make sure. So my first log pick originally, because like I said, I went backwards. Usually I post my log picks first, and then I do my just regular picks. So my first log pick was for the over in the Suns Mavs game that's actually going on right now. I got it over on Caesars 229.5. The Suns at the time currently 4-1 for the over the last 5 games, while the Dallas Mavericks are 3-2 to the over the last 5 games. But in their last 6 meetings, they're 3-3 to the over, so they're back and forth as far as the over hitting or not. So let's look at the score, because again, this is early game. 66-54. The third quarter pretty much has just now started. It's a couple minutes in. So we'll see what happens. Again, it's 229.5. Kind of feel like it may not go over. It's probably possibly going to go under. Again, it's 66 points to 54. Phoenix is currently winning. So yeah, the spread is 6.5. Maybe I should have taken the spread instead. But at the same time, we'll see. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But that's what I decided to go with, because I'm kind of upset that I didn't go with the Denver Thunder game instead. I think too, because it was last night, I was kind of like half asleep putting my picks in, that I should have just went with the spread pick or the under for Denver, because Denver has, originally I was taking overs for the Denver games, and then I decided, let me, because it looks like they're starting to go under now, let me fade them now, because it is kind of fade Sunday anyway. Sundays are an interesting specific spot for NBA anyway, so I went with this game instead of the Denver game. Maybe because I think that was the other reason why I just didn't take the Denver Thunder game too, because I kept picking them in a few of my live streams and videos more recently. So I was just, let me do a different game, switch it up. But it is what it is, and yeah, we'll see what happens with this game. But again, I kind of feel like it might not go over the number. The other lock pick but I am going with one of my other teams. The Memphis Grizzlies decided to go ahead and take them on the number to cover the spread over on DraftKings, -110. Got it at -8.5 against the Pelicans on the road. Pelicans currently are 0-5 ATS over the last 5 games, while my Grizzlies are actually just a smidge better, 1-4 ATS over the last 5 games. But here's the but. The last 7 games, the last 7 meetings, whether on the road, whether at home, depending on which team, my Grizzlies are 5-2 ATS against New Orleans. So the last 7 meetings, we are covering this over. Covering the spread. So whatever spread it is. So I'm hopeful that this will happen. And I think, let me double check. I think Zion is not playing tonight. Let me double check. Tonight, 7 o'clock. So let me double check. So he's not playing. He's resting. So that should play a key role in hopefully this lock pick hitting tonight. We'll see what happens. I've mentioned this in my stream yesterday. I think it was my stream yesterday. The stream the day before. I think Friday, Thursday. That specific days I had looked at my record. More specifically Fridays. Fridays haven't been a really good betting day for me. I'm several losses under 500 on Fridays, but I can't remember about Saturdays. Sundays I have to relook at. So once I can go back and really tally all of my wins and losses and stuff like that, I'll be able to have a record for Monday through Sunday, including try to refigure out my entire NBA seasonal record. My NBA season record sucks. When I do my 2 lock picks, it's pretty much been sucking more after the first 2 months since I started actually keeping track of a record. So definitely way below 500. I'm definitely like 20 plus losses below type of thing. I think I've only got maybe 50 plus wins, like a low 50, like 52 or something, or 50 or 52, maybe 54. Something like that, maybe 53, something. It's around that number. So it's a low 50, and my losses are like around close to 80. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's, I've been sucking for the season as far as, my 2 lock picks each day. So, but anyway, this one I wanted to take the spread, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna test and see if these 2 teams can go over the number. This is the last pick of the day. It's the Jazz at Philly. The over is 223. Here's why. And it's actually possibly, it may hit, maybe, possibly. We'll see. I don't know. But I decided to see if this will hit. 223. FanDuel, -110. Philly is 3-2 over the last 5 games to the over. Right? The Jazz are also just like my Memphis. Not the Jazz, but who was it? It was somebody that was 5-0. I was just looking at them. But either way, the Jazz are 5-0 the last 5 games to go over. So you figure even the last game where they didn't have any of their starters in, mostly from what I remember. I think Sexton may have played the last game where everybody else, marketing, everybody, John Collins, all of that stuff, they weren't in. They were still able to cause the over to hit. So if you had faded that game, you lucked out. So I'm kind of mad that I didn't take the over, because I would have more than likely leaned towards the under or the team total points under type of thing. So either way, it still happened. So here's the other kicker, though. The last 3 meetings between the Jazz and the 76ers, the over has hit all 3 games. Whether at home or on the road, however you want to put it, last 3 games, the over has hit. So there's that. So I decided to just test this out, see if it will happen, see if it will work. I really don't know if we can look. Let me come off the camera. Let's go to the game here. We can see who's playing, who's not. We already know what Philly's specific thing is. So yeah, John is not playing, Clarkson's not playing, Kessler's out, Markkanen's out, Sexton's out. So the only one that's really in is Collier. So this is a bad spot, because I didn't get a chance to look at this because I was like half asleep putting all these picks in last night before I fully went to bed. So I was just like, I'm just gonna just put this one in and log it in. That's why I'm saying I if I was fully awake and paying attention, I would have chosen the Denver Thunder game instead of this one. And as you see, Paul George and all that, Embiid, all that stuff, everybody's out except for, hold on, is Maxi's out. So yeah, this may more than likely possibly go under now because nobody's playing. so yeah, but I mean, the number went up to 275, 227 and a half. So I kind of feel like now with whatever's going on with both teams, this is more likely going to go under. I feel like I should have just faded this game in total. But again, I didn't have all the information as far as the game itself. And like I said, I was falling asleep for most of the game. So that game is probably more than likely a loss, but it's the NBA. You never know. Cats go out there and ball and, can score 250 randomly. You know what I mean? But with the style of the way that the game is played in today's NBA, there's like no defense played and everybody's scoring or even letting everybody score. So yeah, that's that. So what can you do? But those are the picks. Like I said, I didn't feel I needed to add 2 more because like I've been saying more recently, like I'm really pushing just for 8 picks each day. And every so often, every couple of days or something, I may decide to do 1 extra pick for both sides, for both, 1 for NBA, 1 for college, maybe do like a parlay type of thing. It was just yesterday, I was just like, well, it's Saturday. That was mainly my main reason why I added so many extra picks. I was like, well, it's Saturday. Let's decide to go out here and put 12 picks down. The day before, I was like, let me just do some extra. I like I said, I'm still upset because for those other picks, my original 4, like I said, I went 4-0. This was 2 days ago. 4-0 for NCAA, 2-2. I would have had a 6-2. 6-2, son. It was right there, and I didn't even. I felt really good about all those picks, like all of them, all 8 of them. I felt really good, even with the way NBA is. I still felt good about those 4 NBA picks from 2 days ago. So and of course, like the college picks, and yeah, if anything, if I had decided to parlay, the NBA on one ticket in the college, I would have went 4-0. The college one at least would have gave me some actual extra money in my pocket. What can you do? But that's something I've been thinking about doing more so is if I'm gonna do 5 and 5, just have my regular 4 single and then just take everything and parlay it together to see if. But at the same time, that 4-0, which technically was 2 days ago, was the only 4-0 that I would have had all season, as far as the more recent last couple of weeks of where I've been doing just 8 picks in total type of thing. So yeah, I've been losing pretty much. So had I parlayed a lot of these picks, that would have been the first one out of like, I guess 16 in total or something. So yeah, I would have been like 1 in 16 or something like that, or 15 or whatever. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but that's what I'm thinking about doing even with next season. So we'll see what happens. But either way, I'm done rambling. This is enough for me. Those are my 8 picks. Let's see what happens for the rest of these picks. As I always do, I need to come more prepared when I'm looking at certain things. I want to do graphs and stuff. I did attempt them like 3 or 4 days ago, but that's still a lot of extra work. Plus, with the way the games play and when the games go off and it's at night and I got to get up in the morning for work, it's totally different because I got to get up at 4 in the morning to get ready to go to work and type of stuff. So it's just like a lot of the analysis or the books opening with at least the regular money line spreads and overs and unders and stuff without the player parlay stuff. A lot of that stuff doesn't open up until nighttime, around 9:30, 10 o'clock, 10:30 type of thing. It's very rarely that they'll open up at, say, 6 in the evening, and I can then just be like, well, I can work on these graphs for the next 3 hours because that is still a lot of work with my, crappy laptop here. So, but what can you do? But I'll still, every so often, whenever I do have some actual time, I'll work on some graphs, but they won't be available all the time. It'll probably be like once or two times a week type of thing, or a weekend, like say a weekend that I'm off, because I'm off next weekend. So there may be a graph on Wednesday because I'm off on Wednesday. We'll see if I can work on something that either that night or in the morning, Wednesday morning before the stream. So tomorrow, Monday, March 10th, there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 NBA games. And for college basketball, yeah. So I don't know if this is definite, because I remember yesterday when I was checking, there were like 17 games at the time, but the number boosted up to whatever it was, like 30 or 40, whatever the number, 50, something like that. So currently, as of right now, for NCAA on March 10th tomorrow, there's 5 college games available to choose from. But again, I kind of feel like that number may change. We'll see specifically what happens with that. There's looking definite more games on the 11th, but it's not that many. Looks like it's probably like 14 or something, but we'll see. But with that, I'm out. Stay safe, stay humble, guys. Take care of yourselves, you and your family and everything. And I will hopefully talk to you all with my hopefully a 2-lock pick video tomorrow for the NBA, but definitely a live stream after work, roughly around 5:30, hopefully, as long as my laptop is kind to me. We'll dive into the picks for